time is up. The federal government has denied Kentucky's request to give the state more time to meet the Real ID Act, and that could have a big impact on you, especially if you travel.
A good deed in Frankfort leads to a man being stabbed and robbed.
And the presidential candidates are likely to show up at many Halloween parties this year. We check in with a Lexington Halloween store to see which is more popular, the Hillary or Donald mask.
This is WKYT News at 5.
Good afternoon. A setback today for the state transportation cabinet involving Kentucky driver's licenses.
The U.S. Department of Homeland Security denied the state's request for another extension to meet the Real ID Act. The decision could soon have a big impact on you, potentially barring you from visiting a military base or even getting on a flight. WKYT Sean Moody has our top story at 5.
Kentucky's Commissioner of Vehicle Regulation said the vast majority of people won't really see any effects of this decision until early 2018. That's the deadline for Real ID compliance for the TSA. Unless something changes by then, you'll need another ID for airline flights. The whole Real ID concept came about back in 2005 as part of the 9/11 Commission. Kentucky's Vehicle Regulations Commissioner John Mark Hack said it was all about making the process more secure. Hack said the Department of Homeland Security's concerns centered around how Kentucky issues its licenses. There is no state DMV. Licenses are issued through county clerk's offices, and there are 144 locations across the state. There have been many delays leading up to this week's decision. In 2009, state lawmakers voted to halt the Transportation Cabinet from working toward Real ID compliance, citing unrealistic requirements and significant financial burden on the taxpayers. This past session, the legislature put together a bill to work toward Real ID compliance, but Governor Matt Bevin vetoed it, saying it had been rushed and that there was tremendous public opposition and misunderstanding about the bill. Homeland Security has issued Kentucky multiple extensions on the requirements, but the latest extension expired yesterday. Starting in January, you can't use a Kentucky ID to get into some federal facilities like nuclear power plants and some military installations, but the biggest impact for most Kentuckians happens in January 2018, when you won't be able to board an airline flight with a Kentucky driver's license. Commissioner Hack, though, said he believes the state will make improvements before that deadline.
And I think that as we address those, Homeland Security is going to back off of that deadline.
Commissioner Hack said over the next few months, state officials will meet with stakeholders and citizens across the state to hear their concerns and make sure they have a good understanding of what Real ID means. In Frankfort, Sean Moody, WKYT.
You could use alternative identification to board a flight, including a passport or U.S. military ID. Only 23 states are in full compliance with the Real ID Act. 18 states are on extensions. 5 states are currently under review, and 4 states, including Kentucky, have been ruled non-compliant. 4 of the states surrounding Kentucky are compliant: Tennessee, Ohio, West Virginia, and Indiana. Illinois and Virginia are under extensions, and Missouri is non-compliant.
A warning tonight for people who drive on Interstate 64 in Franklin County. Police want you to be on alert if you see a car broken down on the side of the road. This comes after police say a man told them he was robbed and attacked after he stopped to help a stranded driver on an off-ramp at exit 53 this morning. WKYT's Victor Puente is tracking the investigation from Frankfort.
Frankfort police say so far this is the only robbery of this type they're investigating. They say they want people to be aware in case they should see someone in a similar vehicle needing help. That driver was getting off of exit 53 of I-64 around 8:45 this morning. Frankfort police say he saw a truck on the side of the road with 2 men waving for help. The driver stopped, and when he did, police say those 2 men attacked him, stabbing him several times before robbing him and taking off. They say those wounds weren't life-threatening, and he was able to make it to a neighboring Kroger where a worker called for help. Police say the robbers were 2 black men in a silver pickup, both at least 6 feet tall and one with a muscular build. They're asking drivers to be cautious and call police if they see someone stranded and don't feel comfortable helping themselves.
I definitely want our community and the public to help people. That's why I became a police officer. But again, use caution and use that common sense approach. If it doesn't look right, if something is absolutely out of sorts, you may not want to stop.
Frankfort police have put out an attempt to locate on that pickup. They tell me if a similar crime should happen in a neighboring county, they'll be made aware of it. In Frankfort, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Victor, thank you. In Frankfort, police say they're also looking for witnesses who were in that area around 8:45 this morning. A scare in downtown Lexington this morning after someone fired a shot into the Fifth Third Bank building. That shot shattered the outer pane of glass on a fourth-floor office window. The bullet did not go into the building and no one was hurt. Police believe it was fired from a large caliber handgun from a distance since the bullet didn't break through the glass. Police are calling this a random, isolated incident, but people working nearby are concerned.
So is it scary that this happened in broad daylight?
Yeah, a little bit, because I work right here, you know? Yeah, and this is right here where I take my break every day, and there's a bullet hole in the building right next to that.
Police say there were reports of shots fired on a nearby street around the same time, and they believe the incidents may be connected. In just about an hour, family and friends of a murdered pregnant woman will march through the streets of downtown Lexington. Mariah Coleman was gunned down last month while walking her dog on Winburn Drive. She was 8 months pregnant. Doctors delivered her baby but couldn't save the infant. Coleman's due date was today. Instead of celebrating the birth of a baby, her family will be holding a march for justice, hoping someone with information will come forward to police. We'll have a live report on that march ahead on WKYT News at 6.
A wild few minutes this morning on Main Street in downtown Nicholasville. Our county-by-county coverage at 5 begins in Jessamine County. Police arrested 33-year-old Jonathan Wilson after they say he crashed his SUV into 3 other cars. After the third crash, police say Wilson tried to take a bystander's car but wasn't successful. Police say Wilson fought with firefighters when they tried to check on him. No one was injured in the incident. Wilson faces several charges, including assault, DUI, and wanton endangerment. In Madison County, a Texas woman is in jail after a road rage incident. Richmond police arrested 68-year-old Deanna Thomas of Dallas yesterday. Police say she pointed a gun at another driver while traveling on I-75. Police say they found the weapon in her purse when they stopped her. Thomas is charged with carrying a concealed deadly weapon.
Well, wouldn't you know it, big changes are on the way in the weather department. Gusty showers tonight will lead to much cooler temperatures tomorrow. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is in our First Alert Weather Center now. What about it, Chris?
Yeah, those changes will blow into town roughly midnight-ish for many of us, and then thereafter we start to see the temperatures take a big dive. So let's soak up another nice evening that is kicking off across central and eastern Kentucky. Starting to see from Lexington, from that live sky cam here at WKYT, some of those high, thin cirrus clouds. Those are ice crystal clouds leading the charge. And notice the colors showing up in the leaves, and those leaves are blowing around a little bit. Mid and upper 70s across central and eastern Kentucky. As of now, let's look to the west, and yeah, we see those clouds increasing. Defender Radar Network also picking up on a couple of very light showers. If you're thinking this is going to be a big-time drink of water tonight and tomorrow morning, think again. It's not that kind of a setup. Scattering of showers and maybe a rumble of thunder overnight early tomorrow morning. The big deal, though, will be going from the mild to the windy to the colder air, and as we go into the day tomorrow, we're going to struggle to get out of the 50s through the middle of the day. Now, this evening, it's a mainly dry one out there. Temperatures into the 60s through sunset, and then after sunset, we'll likely stay into the low and mid 60s all the way through 11 o'clock, and it's by then anyone fair game for a shower or a thunderstorm. But coming up in a few minutes, we'll run down a new hour-by-hour forecast that'll take you into the start of the weekend and show you how it's not just this cold front that is getting a little bit of my rain attention. That's in a few.
All right. Well, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump is fighting a battle within his own party and against Hillary Clinton.
The Democratic nominee remains mired in email troubles. CBS's Craig Boswell has our campaign 2016 update now from Capitol Hill.
If I lose, I'm going to be so angry at Florida. Oh.
Donald Trump is stumping in must-win Florida, where he suggested both parties in Congress let Hillary Clinton's email scandal slide.
Do they make a deal where everybody protects each other in Washington?
He talked about the latest email leaks from Clinton's campaign staff.
The WikiLeaks emails show that Hillary Clinton's staff even has to give her secret notes on when she needs to smile. Smile, Hillary, smile.
Trump is also trying to rebound from a 2005 video in which he made lewd comments about women. A former Miss Arizona says it's not just Trump's words that are troubling. She claims the billionaire insisted on meeting Miss USA contestants in the women's dressing room.
He just came strolling right in. There was no second to put a robe on or any sort of clothing or anything. Some girls were topless, other girls were naked.
The latest poll shows more than 1/4 of elected top Republicans won't endorse Trump, but his running mate downplayed party infighting.
The overwhelming majority of leaders are joining with millions of Americans.
Clinton is trying to win over disgruntled Republicans while the media sifts through hacked emails from campaign chairman John Podesta. U.S. intelligence says Russia is behind the hacks.
Their apparent attempt to influence it on behalf of Mr. Trump is, I think, should be of utmost concern to all Americans.
The Trump campaign denies it's working with the Russians. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
We are just 27 days until the election. The third and final debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump is a week from tonight in Las Vegas.
From the presidential candidates to creepy clowns, we'll check out the most popular Halloween costumes this year. That's in 11 minutes on WKYT News at 5.
It's become a big trend wearing activity trackers, but how accurate is a Fitbit or Apple Watch? We put them to the test later in Better Living.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Well, hope you're having a great day out there. If you've been out and about this afternoon, what's not to like about it, huh? You've got the breezy conditions, got some sun, warm temperatures, fall colors. Enjoy it. Until tomorrow, it goes downhill a little bit. Let's look outside. 9 live sky cams. I'm trapped inside, so this is my window to the weather world. Look at E-Town. More in the way of clouds. Louisville cam being a little shy on us. You get into Lexington, looking toward the west, seeing some clouds beginning to filter on into town. 70s across the entire region this afternoon. Tomorrow, big drop in the thermometer. 50s in the morning. We kind of hold there through noontime. Little sun breaks out into the afternoon. 60 to 65 degrees. Look at 11 tomorrow night. Mid and upper 40s with some clearing skies. Skies that are clear now will cloud over fairly quickly later this evening as we get in on some clouds, a little shower, thunderstorm action, parts of Indiana, Illinois, toward the Great Lakes, seeing the greatest threat for rain for now. We'll watch that little band of some rain here in the parts of Missouri. That'll scoot toward the east over the next couple of hours. But overall, it's a battle between the mild and the colder air, and that front does not have a whole lot of juice. There's no moisture coming in from the Gulf of Mexico for this to work with. So as we go into the day tomorrow, into Friday, there's a small chance for a shower. That Friday shower chance is late in the day. Saturday, tell you, it's one of those days that there's a high bust potential on that forecast for Saturday. If we bust toward the sunny side, we're okay. You get a little bust toward the rainy side, people don't like you. There's a chance for some rain on Saturday. Not an all-day event, but at least a chance for a couple of showers. That shows up on that 3-day forecast that kind of repeats itself here for you, but you get the idea. We're trying to hammer home at least a chance for a little shower action coming up tomorrow night and into the day on our Saturday. We go through this cold front. 70s ahead of it, even touching 80. Then look at the difference. 71 St. Louis, 51 Kansas City, 30s, 40s behind that boundary, so you know that front actually means business as it rolls to the east. What about the rain chances? Not the greatest in the world, but after midnight through early tomorrow morning, at least a scattered shower is possible. Noon tomorrow, likely to have the gray overcast conditions slowly giving way to some afternoon sun, low and mid 60s. Tomorrow night into the day on Friday, we'll start things out around 40. Southern Kentucky, there's a chance for a shower Friday afternoon into Friday evening. And some of the models really try to build up the rain on Friday night and Saturday morning. This is one of those. I got a few other models that say, don't worry about it. I'll keep the shower chance in there right now because, again, if you have a little rain in the forecast and you get some sun, people aren't too mad about that. Early next week, guys, a couple more cold fronts will come our way, a more potent front by Wednesday and Thursday.
Are we still up to how many? What's the number count on fronts coming?
3 on this forecast still.
I lose count
and another
so
one
quickly.
After this.
Okay,
yeah.
it's
getting busy. I know.
It is busy. Thank you, Chris.
Looking at a collision at New Circle and Harrodsburg Road. It looks like no one's hurt in the crash, but we're seeing some backups on the inner and outer loops approaching that, especially the outer loops, the outer loop coming from Versailles Road. On the north side, the collision's been cleared North Broadway in the Circle, and it's all clear now from Liberty and New Circle Road. Takes us to our drive times, 27 minutes to Frankfort, 16 to Georgetown, and 15 minutes to Nicholasville. Now back to you in the studio.
If you've ever been too scared to get on a motorcycle, you may be in luck. Check out the bike of the future in 9 minutes. So safe, the maker says you don't even need a helmet.
And ahead on WKYT News at 5:30, a man charged in a crash that killed a Kentucky soldier goes to court. We'll have an update on the case.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Here's a look at some of the most viewed stories on our website right now. People want to know more about a racially charged school assignment given out at a Lexington high school. Autopsy results reveal a man shot and killed by a Tulsa police officer had drugs in his system, and the federal government has denied Kentucky's request for more time to update IDs. Well, Halloween, believe it or not, is just 19 days away, and some of the most popular costumes come from news headlines.
Can't you just imagine that? WKYT's Monique Blair shows us what's hot for Halloween 2016.
Decisions. What to be for Halloween 2016.
Just looking for a Big Mama or Minnie Mouse. I want to be Big Mama because that's what they call me at McDonald's.
Carol Blackford and her husband are scouring the scary racks, trying to find that perfect costume.
You ain't gonna find them to say no Big Mama on it, no way.
Yes, you are, baby.
While you may not find exactly what you want, you can guarantee during a presidential election year, these two faces will be an option. It's like they can't get enough of each other. The question is, are they meant to be funny or scary?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I guess it really depends on, well, I can't even say that. I was going to say it depends on the candidate, but I don't know. Could go either way right now.
If you are wondering which one is more popular, the Halloween Express poll shows a tie. Zombies and superheroes like Batman and his nemesis Harley Quinn are also hot items this year.
I don't like those. When I was younger, clowns was awesome. But the older people get, they're making clowns out of bad things.
Yes, even though scary clowns have been all over the news recently, they are still a hot-selling item this year.
It's definitely created a buzz.
As for Carol, she eventually found something she could wear to work for Halloween, although now she looks like she works for Chick-fil-A more than McDonald's. In Lexington, Monique Blair, WKYT.
And the National Retail Federation predicts Halloween 2016 spending to reach about $8 billion, which would be an all-time high. Well, his smartphone caught fire over the weekend, forcing him to go to the emergency room. Ahead on WKYT News at 5:30, the Nicholasville man weighs in on recent steps taken by Samsung.
Music lovers, you now have a new option to hear the latest hits. Amazon is getting into the music streaming business. We'll break down the costs next in Better Living. It is time now for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Many people use activity trackers like Fitbit and the Apple Watch. A new study looked at popular devices worn on the wrist and found the accuracy of the heart rate monitors varied. Kenneth Craig reports.
When Aaron Eisenson hits the pavement for his daily walk, he makes sure his Fitbit is monitoring his steps and heart rate.
I'm not the elite athlete who cares that much. I just want to make sure that it's up and beating and moving a little faster when I'm out walking.
But a new study from the Cleveland Clinic shows getting an accurate heart rate reading on the popular wrist devices can vary.
People are increasingly relying on these monitors to record heart rate, and they often become very concerned and anxious when they obtain values that appear completely out of the norm.
Researchers looked at 4 wearable wrist monitors, including the Fitbit and Apple Watch, testing them side by side with a heart strap monitor and an electrocardiogram, or EKG, the gold standard of heart rate testing.
The Apple Watch was more than 90% accurate, while the Fitbit was in the 80s in terms of accuracy, and the other two were in between.
Researchers say the chest strap monitor readings were virtually identical to the EKG. Dominique Bastos is a marathon runner. She owns a Fitbit.
I've bought them, I've spent the money, but I've never really used them.
She says she prefers to measure her heart rate the old-fashioned way. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, New York.
Amazon is launching a paid streaming music service. Amazon Music Unlimited will compete against existing services such as Spotify and Apple Music. It will cost $8 per month or $80 a year for members of Amazon's Prime loyalty program. Non-Prime members will pay $10 a month. Owners of Amazon's Echo smart speaker will be able to get the unlimited music service on one device for $4 per month. And BMW is showing off the motorcycle of tomorrow. The bike is self-balancing, so it stays upright even if it's not moving, thanks to onboard gyroscopes. BMW also says riders won't need to wear a helmet because the bike has an electronic safety cage that communicates with other vehicles and road sensors to help it automatically avoid crashes. It's still unclear when BMW plans to put that bike out on the market. Now, here's what's coming up for you at 5:30.